When we meet again. Part 3, The Truth Behind the Breakup. The next morning, Kola Adebayo woke up earlier than usual. The sunlight slipped through the thin curtains of his apartment in Lagos, casting soft lines across the floor. Normally, mornings were predictable for him: shower, quick breakfast, then rush into the chaos of Lagos traffic. But today felt different. His mind was still on the conversation from the night before. Zainab's words kept replaying in his head. Maybe it's time you found out why things ended the way they did. For 5 years he had believed he already knew. Or at least, he thought he did. But now he wasn't so sure. He reached for his phone on the bedside table. There was a new message. From an unknown number. He opened it. "Good morning, Kola. This is Zainab." His chest tightened slightly. Another message followed. "Can we talk later today? There are things I think you deserve to know." Kola stared at the screen for a few seconds. Then he typed a reply. "Yes." "When?" The response came quickly. 6 p.m. The cafe near Victoria Island waterfront. Kola leaned back against his pillow. After 5 years of unanswered questions, he was finally going to hear the truth. That evening, the cafe overlooked the calm waters near the edge of the city. Soft music played in the background as customers sat quietly at small wooden tables. Kola arrived a few minutes early. He chose a seat outside where the cool evening breeze moved gently across the water. 10 minutes later, Zainab arrived. She looked slightly nervous this time. Not the calm, confident woman he had seen at the event the night before. Tonight she looked like someone carrying something heavy in her heart. "Kola," she said softly as she sat down. "Hi." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The waiter arrived and took their orders. 2 cups of coffee. Then the silence returned. Finally, Zainab took a deep breath. "I suppose I should start from the beginning." Kola nodded. "Yes, that would help." She looked down at her hands. "You remember the night you called me 5 years ago?" "Yes." "You asked where I was." Kola nodded again. "You said you were at home." "I know. And you weren't." Zainab closed her eyes briefly. "No. I wasn't." Kola leaned forward slightly. "Then where were you?" She looked up at him. "At the restaurant, with that man," Kola said quietly. Zainab nodded. "Yes." Kola felt a familiar tension return to his chest. "So I was right." "Not exactly." "What do you mean?" Zainab hesitated. Then she said something that immediately confused him. "That man was my brother." Kola blinked. "Your brother?" "Yes." "You told me you only had one sibling." "I do." "Then who was he?" "My older brother from my father's first marriage." Kola sat back slowly. "You never told me about him." "I know." "Why?" Zainab looked out at the water before answering. "Because my family situation is complicated." Kola remained silent. She continued. "My father had another family before he married my mother. My older brother, Sadiq, lives in Abuja. We didn't grow up together." "So why were you meeting him?" Zainab swallowed. "Because my father was sick." Kola's expression changed. "Sick?" "Yes, I didn't know that." "Not many people did." She paused for a moment before continuing. "That night at the restaurant, Sadiq had just told me that our father's condition was worse than we thought." Kola felt a sudden wave of guilt. "You were dealing with that, and I thought that I was cheating on you." Kola looked down at the table. "I saw the photo." Zainab nodded slowly. "I figured." He looked up. "Why didn't you just explain everything?" Her expression softened. "Because when you called me that night, I could hear the doubt in your voice." Kola didn't respond. She continued quietly. You didn't ask me what was really going on. You lied about where you were. Yes, she admitted. But I was overwhelmed. My father was dying, my brother and I were arguing about family responsibilities, and I didn't know how to explain everything. So instead, you ended things. Zainab nodded. Yes. Kola stared at her in disbelief. You broke up with me because you thought I didn't trust you? Her eyes filled with emotion. No. Then why? She hesitated. Then she finally told him the truth. Because I didn't want you to see me fall apart. Kola's expression softened slightly. Zainab continued. My father died 2 weeks later. The words hung heavily between them. I was angry, she said quietly. At everything. At life. At my family. And yes, at you too. Kola felt his chest tighten. I wish I had known. So do I. They both sat quietly for a moment. 5 years of misunderstanding suddenly felt painfully unnecessary. Finally Kola spoke. So all this time, we were both wrong. Zainab nodded. Yes. We lost everything because of pride and silence. Another quiet moment passed. Then Kola asked the question that had been sitting in his heart all evening. Zainab, if things had been different back then, she looked at him. Yes? Would we still be together? Zainab didn't answer immediately. Instead, she held his gaze for a long moment. Then she spoke softly. I think we would have tried harder. The evening sky over the water slowly darkened. Lights from nearby buildings reflected gently across the surface. And for the first time in 5 years, Kola and Zainab were finally beginning to understand what really happened between them. But the biggest question still remained. What would they do now? END of Part 3.